Thank you for being with me this evening. My name is David Marshall, and I'm a professor in the English department here at CSUSB. I'm also the director of the University Honors Program. And that is what we are going to be talking about this evening. I hope to share with you a whole bunch of information about the honors program that will give you a better sense of kind of who we are and what we're all about. I'll invite you to ask me any questions at any point along the way. We'll also have time for questions at the end of my remarks. If you do have questions, feel free to unmute yourself. It will be a little difficult for me to see the sort of virtual Zoom raised hands, but if you are uncomfortable unmuting yourself and just asking, feel free to use the chat. I am keeping an eye on the chat, so I can take questions that way as well. And I'll do my best to stay on top of questions at the same time that I sort of tell you a little bit about what the honors program is. Okay, so first off, as I indicated, I am a professor in the English department. My specialty is medieval literature, so stories about knights and dragons. I love that stuff, grew up on it as a kid, and never outgrew it. And as I also said, I'm the faculty director of the honors program. That means that I do a variety of things. As it indicates there, I manage the program's operations. Basically, I have general responsibility over the whole program. I'm also a mentor for honors students and work very closely with many of our students. I oversee the program's curriculum, working with faculty to develop classes that are interesting and enjoyable for students at the same time that it gives them a different kind of learning experience than students might expect elsewhere in the university. I also teach in the program. I teach a research workshop for both juniors and seniors. And I advise honors program students along with another member of our staff, who I will tell you about in just a little bit. So this is what I'm going to talk to you about a little bit tonight. I want to tell you about our community because community is a key word for us in the honors program. And we'll also talk a little bit about the academics in the program, as well as honors advising support. We have an active honors advisor. We'll also talk about the non-academic activities because we have a rich co-curriculum that we provide for students to keep them engaged in a variety of different ways. And then we'll talk a little bit about our facilities that you'll have access to should you choose to join us. And again, I'll invite you to ask questions at any point along the way, either by unmuting yourself or typing it into the chat. Okay, so the honors community is a vibrant one. And I should say that before I go into these slides, that I talked to my honor students about what I was doing this evening, and they actually sort of gave me feedback and said, these are things you really need to tell everybody. So a lot of this comes directly from them. And I think that's important to let you know because the honor students are invested in the program and they care about it a great deal and they care about each other a great deal. And so they describe the program's community as being made up of curious students who are eager to learn, right, and to make the most out of their educational opportunities. They also highlight the fact that we're a diverse community, and diverse in the broadest possible terms. Diverse in terms of ethnicity, race, religion, sexuality, gender identity, major, minor. We're made up of all kinds of people. And so it's a dynamic space, and it makes for an exciting exchange of ideas and as well as experiences. We're also a program in which students are very connected with one another and with the faculty and staff in the program. We work very hard to build relationships in the honors program so that it can be a supportive community. And that's one of the things my honor students really wanted me to emphasize as I spoke to you tonight, is that one of the challenges with going to college is finding a social circle, right? You've been going to school with the same people for a very long time. And when you land on a campus of 20,000 students, it can be hard to find your way around, and it can be hard to connect with other people and find your social groups. And the honors program really gives you an advantage in that because we've got people actively working to help you with that. And it's a very warm and welcoming community, the warmest and most welcoming community I've worked in ever in my life. They also wanted me to emphasize that we're always looking for ways to have fun. And we do that through course-based experiences, through non-academic experiences, but it's always a priority for us. Now, the honors program and its community also is a space that tries to provide opportunities for students. And we do it in a variety of ways. The first way you see listed there is by establishing mentoring relationships from faculty, staff, and even other students. With faculty, we help students identify faculty mentors in their major or within the honors faculty. Me and my staff are actively working as mentors for honor students, and our upperclassmen are eager to support our lowerclassmen and to provide guidance when needed. We also try to provide opportunities for students to engage in undergraduate research. There's a lot of research into higher education and student experiences that indicates that students that engage in undergraduate research have a better overall experience in college, do better, and are more likely to graduate on time. And so we try to engage our students in undergraduate research and provide those opportunities. And so to that end, it becomes a space where you can create knowledge in your own major. And part of our strategy in this is that we ask our students to put together a senior research or creative project in their major. And you get to define what that is. So you get to define your own area that you want to study and learn about. And we support you as you develop a project that takes you on that journey. And so we're always trying to provide personalized assistance, not just with the research component, but with thinking about what you can do to prepare yourself to move out into the world through internship identification, thinking about graduate school opportunities, moving into careers directly out of undergrad, and even postgraduate fellowships, which are exciting opportunities that can give you money to go do incredible things around the world. And we've got students actively applying for things like Fulbright fellowships that would, we have a student apply to get money to go study healthcare opportunities and healthcare systems in Australia. And she's waiting to hear on the results of that. Okay, good question. Is it a 4-year program? Yes, it is. And that actually transitions me beautifully into our next topic, and that is our curriculum. We have a 4-year curriculum that kind of scaffolds your learning over 4 years. You would begin in our first year experience. In the fall, we would have a writing class and a critical thinking class. In the spring, a public speaking class and a foundation seminar. And our foundation seminar is a very unique experience that challenges students to use writing skills, critical thinking skills, public speaking skills, all together as they explore a historical moment, but by turning it into a role-playing game. I know it sounds a little crazy. It can be a little hard to explain, especially in the short amount of time I have right now. But our students are having a blast in it, and it provides a really engaging way of studying something in a way you normally wouldn't get the opportunity to. So that's our first year experience. In the second year, we have optional courses that honor students can take that satisfy general education requirements in American history and in American government. And normally these are classes that cap at about 150 students, but our honor sections cap at closer to 40 students. So it's a very different experience than you would have if you took the typical general education version of these. Okay, we have a question. Do you have to maintain a certain GPA to stay in the program? Yes, you do. We have a minimum GPA of 3.3. So you've got to maintain at least a 3.3 to remain active in the program. If you dip down below a 3.3 cumulative GPA, we don't boot you right away. we put support around you for a year and give you an opportunity to bring your GPA back up. And I've got a question, can anyone be allowed to join, or just those who got an email? Well, we invite students to apply who have a 3.7 weighted GPA or above. So yes, it is limited to a certain group of students, students that have demonstrated extraordinary academic success. Okay, keep those questions coming. Now, we're going to go through the next 2 years pretty quickly. And this will be of interest to Camilla, who asked, what if you are only supposed to be going to school 2 more years, not 4 years, which is the honors time? Well, we would sort of treat your situation kind of like you're a transfer student, because we allow transfer students from community colleges who are coming into CSUSB. And in that case, you would take our 3rd and 4th year curriculums only. So in the 3rd year, it would be a pair of interdisciplinary general education seminars, and they're linked and team taught, and they explore unique topics. So they're experiences that you wouldn't get anywhere else on campus. For example, last fall, we had a course that explored walking as a way of understanding and knowing the world. And it was taught by a faculty member in English and a faculty member from geography. So you've got very different disciplines being brought together to explore questions about a unique topic. In addition, students in their 3rd year participate in a project design workshop. That's one of the research workshops that I teach. And it's a space in which our juniors develop their senior project, right? That research or creative project that they'll conduct in their senior year. So in the 4th year, we engage students in that research project, and we provide support to them with the research workshop for the senior year that I teach. And so we kind of reduce course expectations in the senior year so that students are able to kind of focus their honors energy on that research or creative project. Okay, we have a question, when is the deadline to decide? Well, the application deadline is March 15th if you were invited to apply. We will be reviewing applications, and decisions will go out by April 15th. And then you will have until decision day, National Decision Day, on May 1st to make a decision. Okay, we have another question. Let's see, it's a long one. Let me read through it quickly. Okay, so Adrian, do me a favor and shoot me an email about your question, because we're going to clear up your question very easily. Okay, and the email address I want you to send it to, and this is a good email address to have on hand for all of you. I'm going to put it in the chat. Is honors@csusb.edu. Okay, so there it is. So Adrian, send me an email with that question. It's easy to clear up. Okay, so that is our curriculum. Let me talk a little bit about the classroom experience. And this is one that a slide I put together straight from what my students told me. Number one, they said it's a different atmosphere from other classes on campus. They also indicated that it's a very different atmosphere from AP classes, that honors classes aren't just AP in college, that they're very different. They're not prepping you to take a test. They're not doing anything like that. What they said is that they develop critical thinking skills in really particular ways, and in ways that other classes don't. And in the process, there's spaces that create strong bonds with peers because there's smaller class sizes. Our first year experience classes cap at 20 students, for example. And finally, that they wanted me to emphasize that they're spaces of free expression, right? They're collaborative learning spaces where everybody is encouraged to sort of share with one another, exchange ideas, and to collaborate on building knowledge. Okay, we've got a question. How many openings do you have? Well, we try to bring in classes of about 150 students each year. Um, we get applications numbering over 200 each year, so it is competitive, but there's a lot of spots for a lot of students. So I wouldn't be discouraged by that number. And in case you're wondering, the honors program has 450 students in it. So we're kind of a big group. And then we also have a question, where would we have received the invitation? Through our regular email or the CSUSB email provided? We tried to send it to both if we had both, but certainly check your CSUSB email account. And if you think that you missed it, feel free to send me an email at honors@csusb.edu. Okay. And the question, is the honors program very time consuming, or can you still be part of clubs and student organizations on campus? It's absolutely doable to be very involved in campus. And actually, we encourage our students to be involved in campus, as I'm going to talk about very shortly. It's not any more time consuming than it is to take classes like everybody else. We're not trying to add lots of time or lots of work. We're trying to give you a unique small college feel on a large university campus. Okay, so let's talk about honors advising. Honors advising is driven by a desire to empower you to chart your own course, right? By identifying academic goals, career goals, and identifying your strengths as an individual and learning how you can use those strengths to help you reach your goals. And so we have an honors counselor. Her name is Crystal Otubwa, who handles most of this for us. I do some of it, and she tackles the lion's share. She's a CSUSB alumna. She also has a master's degree, as you can see there, and she's working on her doctoral degree right now. So she is exceptionally well trained for this. And she advises honor students for academics, so the classes they're taking and that kind of thing. She also plans a variety of co-curricular programs for us. She does workshop series to help support student development and to help them identify career pathways or to think through graduate school opportunities and that kind of thing. And she also supports professionalization. We actually stole her from the campus's career center. And so she's very well trained at internship identification, helping students write cover letters and resumes and all kinds of stuff like that. We have a great question. Does the honors program include the Palm Desert campus? Yes, it does. We are extending the honors program out to the Palm Desert campus and building a cohort of students out there. So we'll be actively working at the Palm Desert campus. Crystal's advising will be done virtually for Palm Desert students, but I'll be making trips out to Palm Desert throughout the year, every couple of weeks or so that students can sit down and talk with me if they have concerns or questions or need advising or anything like that. Now, Crystal has set some very clear goals that she has for advising. And as you see there, that number one goal starts with the word empower. She wants to empower you to make sure that your sense of purpose with your major and career goals are all aligned, right? So what is it that you aspire to do? What kind of an impact do you want to make on the world? And then is your major aligned to that desire? And are your career goals aligned to that desire? And she'll help you explore that and figure it out if you're not quite sure. Additionally, she wants to help you build educational plans that are going to leverage your strengths and abilities, as well as the things you're interested in, the goals you have, and the values that define who you are. All right, so she's really thinking about you as an individual and trying to help you craft an educational experience that is going to fully develop you as an individual. She also works very actively with our sophomores and juniors as they think about their research or creative interests. and helps them to develop project ideas that they can begin to embark on in their junior and senior years. And then finally, Crystal works very hard to help students make connections between what they're doing in the classroom and what they're doing outside the classroom. Because we recognize that learning happens in both places. And we want to help you find ways to bring the outside the classroom learning into the classroom and vice versa. So that's sort of what our advising efforts are going to try to help you do. And that's what we're up to when we have advising appointments with you. So that's advising. Now let's jump to our co-curricular activities. And this is where a lot of the real fun comes in. So our co-curricular experiences and activities are all about expanding the student experience, as you see there. And this ties into our understanding that learning happens outside the classroom as well as inside the classroom. And that learning outside the classroom can be a whole lot of fun. And so we try to create opportunities for that to happen. So one way we do that is through community building events. And you can see two of them there in the sub-bullets. We like to put our students on the university's Leadership Challenge course. And if you're not sure what that is, oftentimes it gets called the Ropes course. And you can see pictures of students on the Ropes course. It's the pictures where they're wearing belt harnesses and helmets, and they're connected to ropes. You can see here, we've got one of our students that is going across a rope bridge. And it's kind of a team building exercise. It's also about building confidence, about setting and achieving goals, overcoming fears in order to accomplish big things. And it's a terrific event. We also have seasonal celebrations that are very much about building connections among students. And in these cases, we call them study sessions because we're not allowed to spend state budget dollars on parties, but really they're parties. So we bring food into our space, and we give students an opportunity to hang out together in a relaxed environment. For example, we have our spring banquet every year. And while the pandemic has curtailed that, we've continued to do these things virtually. Okay, Adrian, I see your question, and definitely I'll take care of it. Okay, so the next type of event I want to talk about are the cultural outings. We try to give students experiences that build something called cultural capital, right? Kind of experiences with culture that you can use to kind of mingle in all kinds of spaces, all kinds of social networks. And so, we've taken students to the Getty Villa. We took them to a San Diego Padres game. And we try to give our students opportunities to experience all kinds of cultural events that they might not have experienced before. That's true also of our arts outings. We recognize that many students don't necessarily have arts experiences, with arts programs being cut from universities, not universities, sorry, but from K-12 curricula. So we've taken students to the LA County Museum of Art, to the Palm Springs Art Museum, gosh, all over the place, the Getty Center, and then we have tickets to take students this fall to see Hamilton. In addition to that, we do science outings. We've gone to the California Science Center. We've gone to the aquarium in La Jolla and the Aquarium of the Pacific. We've taken students whale watching. You can see some photos of our whale watching trip. And so we're trying to give students as many opportunities to learn about different things as we can, and to learn about them outside the classroom. Now, an important thing I should add is that these outings are free to students, except for whatever food you want to eat while you're out. So We're paying for the tickets to Hamilton. We pay for transportation into LA. Basically, we get you to the Pantages and get you in your seat. We give you time to wander around Hollywood and get some dinner before the show. And dinner's up to you, but the rest of it's on us. Now, because we're paying for it, we do have limited seats on these trips, and it's typically first come, first serve. But I think we do a pretty good job of meeting need. And students very often, we're very often able to provide for all students to have at least one of these experiences each year. Okay, let's take a look at the next thing, community engagement. And this is going to come back around to that question we had about the honors program being time consuming, and do you have time to be involved in things, right? We really promote community engagement, and we define community engagement very broadly. Now you can see on this slide that one way we define community engagement is through volunteer service. And we do value volunteer service greatly and encourage all kinds of volunteer service. And we set up volunteer service opportunities throughout the year. For example, this year, because we weren't able to go out to places to do service, we did a letter writing effort for folks living in memory care and in retirement communities. So that was how we engaged in volunteer work during the pandemic. But we also define community engagement as getting plugged into what's going on in the community and on campus. So we encourage you to get involved in campus organizations. We have an honors program student club that students get involved in. But there's clubs all over campus that we want you to get involved in. Community engagement is also going to theater performances on campus or recitals, or we bring in some really impressive guest lecturers on campus, going to see them. That's all community engagement, and we encourage you to do as much of that as possible. In part because a lot of research has been popping up to demonstrate that students that do plug into their communities and into their campuses like this enjoy college more, have better grades, have a higher rate of satisfaction, and graduate in higher numbers. And so we want you to be as plugged in as you can be. And we'll help you find opportunities to do that. Now, let's think a little bit about the space we live in. And I should say this is going to be fairly specific to the San Bernardino campus. We don't have a designated honor space on Palm Desert campus quite yet, but we're hoping to get there soon. Now, the honors facility on the San Bernardino campus is in this building. It's called Cajon Hall, and we control this whole ground floor here of the East Wing. And in that East Wing, we have a student lounge that has a 70-inch flat screen TV that students are always streaming videos on. That they're on Disney Plus and Netflix and watching all kinds of stuff on there. We have a computer lab that has computers that are networked to a printer that has free printing. We have study rooms. It's 2 rooms with 3 large tables each, and they tend to be quiet study spaces. We also have faculty and staff offices. My office is here, Crystal's office is here. We have an office for our faculty, and our honors student club has an office. And it's open 12 hours a day, 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. So there's access as long as people are on campus, really. And it's a safe, comfortable space to spend time, whether you live on campus or whether you are a commuter student. For example, if you are mostly taking your classes in Palm Desert, but end up needing to come to the San Bernardino campus for a class, this is a great place to hang out and do some work or just socialize and spend some time while you're not in class. Now, the other thing we have in this building, and I'll point out that this right here, where my cursor is, if you can see it, is that same East Wing. And so we have the ground floor, but we also have the floor above it. And that floor above it is a residence floor. We have about 36 dorm rooms there. So it's one floor above the honor space. And housed there are the residential honor scholars. And the residential honor scholars are honor students who choose to live on campus. You're not required to, but you can choose to live on campus. And we provide supplemental programming for students that live among the residential honor scholars. Crystal is very involved in this. We take a strengths-based approach to help create kind of a journey of self-discovery, if that's not too corny a way to put it. There's also faculty in residence. I'm one of them. There's another faculty member that lives in the residence hall. We have apartments that we live in. We both have dogs. I have a 90-pound German Shepherd that lives with me, along with my sons. And we do programming for students. It's often socially oriented, so it's an opportunity to get to know us outside of official roles. For example, I have a faculty in residence event tonight that's built around Animal Crossing. So me and a bunch of students are going to be doing Animal Crossing together and visiting each other's islands. It's also a place where you build a peer network, a very close peer network, because you're living together. And the friendships that emerge out of that are very strong. Okay, we have a question. Do you still take general ed classes, or does the honors program replace that? Well, our classes replace some of your GE classes, but there are other general education classes that you'll still be taking in the regular general education format. So it's kind of a yes, both answer on that one. Okay. The University Honors Program Student Club. It's a great group. And they're really, really active, and they really kind of function as a social programming board. So they're putting together all kinds of events that give students an opportunity to spend time together doing fun things that folks might not do otherwise. You're probably looking at that picture wondering what the heck is going on there. We've got one student who looks like she's studying, another who's got a marker in her hand. We've got another, I can't quite tell what she's doing in the back there, but then we've got this dude wearing a medieval helmet, and there's a skeleton, right? A little odd. Well, that's an escape room that the Honor Student Club board members put together. And teams of students could sign up to go through the escape room. The student board timed them, and a prize was given to the team that had the best time. So they're up to all kinds of creative activities that provide honor students with opportunities to interact and to do fun things. When campus shut down last spring, within 3 days, they had a Discord server set up with channels that mimicked the different spaces in the honors facility. So they had one that was for the lounge and all kinds of stuff. And it's a really dynamic space. They've been using it for game nights on Saturdays, and they've set up a Minecraft server for honor students. So everybody's playing Minecraft together and finding ways to interact even though everything is shut down. And so they're engaged in social events and often in topical activities. The fall before the pandemic, we went up to the observatory and had an observatory night where we were looking through telescopes and hanging out and having a good time. Somebody brought a guitar. And so it's always fun. I enjoy participating in those as much as I can. I'm actually the advisor for the club. Okay, so we are winding down at this point. So let me go over what are, I think some of the key benefits, right? Number one, and I haven't mentioned this one yet, is honor students have early registration. It happens in class. So as a first-year student, you would register before all the other first-year students. Now, the seniors will still register for you, but typically you're going for different classes, so it won't be that big a deal. I also hope I've made clear that there's a lot of hands-on support that we provide. between Crystal and I, we're really eager to do whatever we can to help students. And we're both pretty well connected across the campus. So if you're having issues or concerns or don't know where to find something on campus, we know who to reach out to get you the help you need if we're not able to provide it. Okay, we've got a couple questions. What kind of qualities do the students invited have? Is it just a GPA of 3? It's actually 3.7 and up? Or how do people receive invitations? Well, we use a variety of factors. Now, the students who are invited to apply to the program have that 3.7 or above GPA. In the applications, we're looking for a variety of things. We're looking for students that are active outside of school, all right, that are engaged in their communities. And that doesn't necessarily mean that you're in every club and playing every sport, right? We recognize that some students don't have time to do that because they have jobs. And so our application asks you if you have any jobs. But we're looking for students that are active outside of school. We're interested in students that can think creatively about what they want to get out of their education. And we're also looking for students that can kind of think critically about things. And so the application has you write an essay using somebody else's idea. In this case, it's an idea by a guy named Camus, Albert Camus. So that's how I would answer that question. Okay, there's a little bit of confusion about the deadline. The deadline to submit your application, if you are invited to apply, is March 15th. And then we're going to let you know whether you've been accepted into the honors program or not by April 15th. And then you've got 15 days to decide where you're going to go to college. And implicitly then, if you choose to come to CSUSB, it's your opportunity to decide whether you want to join the honors program. We assume you do because you applied. But May 1st is decision day. Application deadline is March 15th. Hopefully that clears it up. The application is a link that was in the invitation email. If you're having trouble finding it, send an email to honors@csusb.edu, and I'll make sure that we can get that to you. All right. Okay, so I'm going to dive back into the slide here. I've talked a little bit about hands-on support and personalized advising. The honors program is also going to give you a strong peer network. When I talk to seniors who are graduating, they say the best part of the honors program were the friendships they made in the honors program, and that they've made friends that are going to last them a lifetime. And typically that's true. I've got students that are friends with fellow honors peers years and years later. So it's pretty remarkable. I mentioned the small class sizes. Our first year classes cap at 20 students. Those classes in the normal GE format typically cap at 28. So we are about a third smaller. That means you get more attention from your faculty. It means it's also a better opportunity to get to know everybody in your class. And then we've got those honor specific events that are going to give you opportunities to learn outside the classroom and have fun while interacting with your peers. Okay. Next, that sort of includes those free on-campus or off-campus excursions. But finally, you'll also have access to the honors facilities. And again, I realize that that is fairly specific to the San Bernardino campus students. Again, we're going to work on trying to find a space for the Palm Desert campus students, but that's going to take us a little time. We're just starting to get ourselves fully established at Palm Desert. Okay. Okay. Now, I've seen a few questions pop up that are asking the same thing. There are some students who are identified as part of a separate program, a particular scholarship program, who are also offered automatic admission into the honors program. If you're in that situation, then you have automatic admission to the honors program and don't need to worry about an application. Okay, so hopefully that wraps that up and alleviates the concern there. Okay. At that point, that's all I want to tell you about, though I'm happy to tell you more if you have any questions. So are there any questions that I might be able to answer for you? At this point, I'm going to stop screen share. Okay, so we've got one here. So even if we confirm our participation in the program through the admission offer, we would have to hear back from you guys in order to be accepted. No, okay, so I think that's tied to that smaller group of students that have been invited to apply for our scholarship program on the campus. And it's tied to that automatic admission offer. If you were given automatic admission to the honors program, you don't need to apply, you're automatically accepted to it, and you are all set. We will be reaching out to you separately later on. Okay, question from Kellen. Is there a conflict with being a music major and being in the honors program? Absolutely not. We adore our music majors. We graduated a guy named Ulysses last year who was a tremendous saxophone player. You know, for his honors project, he actually composed a piece of saxophone music and performed it. It was remarkable. So absolutely no conflict. And in fact, one of our music professors, Lucy Lewis, has done some work with the honors program in the past. And so she's a big supporter of the honors program and is eager to support students who are in music, who are interested in being in the honors program. So you'll get plenty of support there. Yeah, Ulysses is great. Jonathan knows Ulysses. Since students in the honors program get priority registration, when would that start? Great question. So the university has begun a practice of building students' schedules for their first semester on campus. And in part, that's because with our orientation being forced online, we can't have student leaders kind of working directly with students to register for classes. So that's part of the rationale. And so your first semester schedule will be set for you, and you can tinker with it a little bit. So we'll put you in your honors classes and take care of all that for you first semester. So the priority registration will begin with the registration process for your second semester, and it persists from then until you graduate. Okay, let's see. Ariana, the answer to that question, I'm just gonna make it very brief since it's so specific, is yes. You are all set, you have nothing to worry about. We'll be reaching out to you fairly soon, okay? All right, are there other questions that I can answer? Okay, good question. Can I still join the honors program? I plan to join the EOP. Yes, absolutely. I'm actually good friends with the director of EOP. And it's a terrific support. We've got a lot of honor students that are involved in it. So by all means, get involved in both. Okay, we've got a question specific to that scholarship program I mentioned. I kind of want to keep the focus on honors, but quick answer, Kellen, is we are distributing the applications to our review committee now, and decisions should be announced in a few weeks. All right, and you'll get a letter indicating. Okay. Ryan's asking, will there be a recording of this meeting somewhere we can access? We have recorded it, and I believe Jonathan will be able to make it available. Okay, so we will be in contact with a link, I'm sure, for you to access the recording. Good questions. All right, are there other questions? More of an admissions question. Do you know if admission statuses have been put out for applicants? I am not certain about that. If you want to send me an email at honors@csusb.edu, I'll put it in the chat again. I can send that question to somebody that can answer it. There's the email address in the chat. Oh, I sent that to one person only. So let me type it again. There we go. Okay. Okay. Yes, it will be available. Okay, Jonathan is letting you know that admissions decisions will be made until April. Trio DSPS student. Okay, so Angelica, I don't think that the Trio DSPS program is going to have any impact on the honors program, right? We are eager to work with you to make the honors program work with whatever you're doing at CSUSB, whether it's at San Bernardino or Palm Desert. Okay. And Jonathan, it looks like there's a question for you. Admissions decisions related to impacted programs like nursing. Yeah, that's one I don't have an answer to. If Jonathan's unable to answer, oh, there we go. Clarification, you may hear from admissions anytime between now and April. Yes, it included impacted programs. Okay, there we go. Awesome, thank you, Jonathan. Your help is greatly appreciated. Are there other questions we can answer for you? Again, I am always eager to be as helpful as I possibly can be. What is the one thing that you enjoy most about teaching at CSUSB? That is a great question. And I'm going to give you kind of two answers because I live in two worlds, right? I'm a teacher, but I also direct the honors program. And the thing I love most about CSUSB and teaching here is the students. I think we have remarkable students. They're incredible. They're invested in their education. They have incredible ideas, amazing goals that they want to reach. And I feel privileged to get to work with students like that. Now, I'm in a really special position because I get to work with honors students in particular. And in addition to the English majors that I work with. And students like you guys are amazing. You know, you were invited to apply to the honors program because you've really worked hard in high school. You're invested in your own education. You want to make the most out of it. You're looking for opportunities. And I want to do everything I can to make opportunities for you. I'm in my dream job. When I took over the honors program 5 years ago, we were 125 students strong. We were in a tiny little room in the library. And we had 4 classes we taught. That's it. There wasn't much of a program. And I'm excited to try to build as many opportunities as I can for students like you. So for example, we're working on building a study abroad program for honor students that will enable students to go to Africa for 3 weeks in the summer. You know, and we've built these excursion programs and we're trying to build exciting opportunities for students. And so I take great delight in being able to do that and being able to give opportunities to students and watch them maximize the potential of those opportunities and their own potential. So that was probably a really long, wordy answer to your question, Jen. So, are there other questions that I can answer? Has the honors program had any students who major in criminal justice? Absolutely. We've had students in just about every major on campus. In fact, I think we've had students in every single major on campus in the 5 years that I've been directing the program. So yeah, we cover everybody. And we can help connect you with faculty in any department. We're eager to help you reach out and make the most of whatever major you choose. Actually, now that I think about it, we had a guy in the honors program who is now a sheriff. I can't remember what county he's in. He's a sheriff now. Well, a deputy. He's not a full sheriff yet. He aspires though, and he'll get there. So. Okay, any other questions? All right, well, I'm not seeing any questions pop up in the chat. Oh, there we go. When I send the email asking about an application, what info do I need to put? Okay, if you send an email, actually about any topic, to honors@csusb.edu, I'll type it in the chat one more time, just in case you might have missed it and your scrolling fingers feeling lazy. The best thing you can, the information that is most helpful is make sure your full name is there and your Coyote ID, right? If you're not sure what I'm talking about there, when you were admitted to CSUSB, you were given a Coyote ID number. And that number allows us to look up your file with admissions, and we can track down any information we need to at that point. So yes, your full name and your Coyote ID are the information that benefits us most. So include that. Good question. Is there a phone number for honors specifically, just in case we have more questions, or is email best? Email is really best at this point because campus is closed, and the honors line is supposed to be routed to my cell phone, but we're having some problems with the way that's working. It's not working right. So the best thing you can do is send an email to honors. My student assistant monitors that email address. And if she can't answer a question, she lets me know, and I dive in there every couple days to answer the questions that she can't. So we will definitely jump on your question as soon as we can. But yeah, email is the best way to get a hold of us. Once again, probably a much longer answer than you needed. Okay, well, have a really great evening. If you do have questions, send them to that email address, and we'll do our best to take care of answering them for you. I want to thank Jonathan for being here and for providing us with answers to questions I didn't know. And I want to thank you for spending the last hour with me. And I hope to get to meet you in the future. Take care and have a good night. Have a great weekend.